Welcome to the Deck Exploration Series, where we make mediocrity manageable. On today's episode, we'll be looking at the vegan fever dream that is Naturia. Naturia. A true underdog. A deck that first premiered all the way back in Hidden Arsenal. A deck with powerful synchro monsters that are usually seen in other themes. A deck with a massive archive of cards with only a few playables. Hold up, I think I just described Ice Barrier. You think Konami will ever give this a structure deck? Anyway, Naturia is a very old deck, and most of its cards have only gotten worse over time. However, there's one card that has gotten better. Naturia Antjaw. Naturia Antjaw reads, when your opponent special summons a monster or monsters, you can special summon one level 3 or lower Naturia monster from your deck. Now this card was created way back before Konami started throwing the once per turn clause on everything it printed, so you can use this card as many times as your opponent special summons monsters. And you can even summon other copies of Naturia Antjaw off of Antjaw's effect. So we're looking to get to this card as early as possible and use trap cards to support it. We're going to be playing Naturia Antjaw Control. And we're going to punish the meta for doing the one thing that it loves to do more than anything else. Special summon. So without further ado, let's head to the replays and see exactly what this deck can do. Our first replay is up against Galaxy. We've opened far more monsters than we want to, but we are going first and we did open the Antjaw. So we're going to normal summon that and set one back row. Our opponent's going to start things off by searching for Photon Thrasher and special summoning that. That triggers our Antjaw, and we're going to special summon another one. Our opponent special summons again, allowing us to trigger both Antjaws this time, summoning Sunflower to negate monster effects and Butterfly to negate attacks. Our opponent will normal summon Galaxy Knight, but they're going to special summon one more time, allowing us to get into our boss monster, Killer Bean.
Dorkfest continues.
From here, our opponent's going to get rid of our back row and overlay into Starleash to summon their Galaxy Eyes from hand. And they're going to overlay into Neo Galaxy Eyes, but we'll negate that with the Sunflower. Now from here, our opponent can go into some Xyz in order to try and pop our monsters, but every time they do, it's going to trigger Antjaw, and we're going to be able to summon out another Naturia from deck. They're going to bring out their Galaxy Eyes, and trigger Antjaw again, summoning out Maron. They'll attack into Beans, but that protects itself once. Then they'll attack into the Antjaw and we'll protect it with a Butterfly. Their final attack does get through and it passes back to us. We're going to start off our turn by drawing a card off of Maron, but realistically from this point, all we have to do is normal summon Mosquito. This will make it to where our opponent takes the damage that we would, allowing us to crash our monsters in and easily get game from here. Our second replay, up against Ancient Gears, demonstrates one of this deck's primary weaknesses. While Antjaw gets the benefit of not being a once per turn, it also gets the dreaded when effect, meaning if the last thing that happened was not the opponent's special summoning, you won't be able to activate the effect. The continuous Ancient Gears spell card replicates this. That's why you need the trap cards in the deck in order to ensure that you can play while your opponent is chain blocking. However, once your opponent stops being able to chain block, you can easily swarm the field again with Naturia Antjaw, and this deck has a really good matchup against any kind of combo deck that would be able to chain block in the first place, as you can turn your opponent's attack points against them, thanks to Naturia Mosquito and Killer Bean. It also doesn't take a lot of damage in order to win. If you can get out 5 Naturia monsters with a Mosquito, it would only take 2,000 damage from each Naturia monster in order to deal the damage in order to win. Additionally, if you can get out 2 Mosquitoes and have an opponent's monster in defense mode, it would only take 1,600 per attack, hence the use of Quaking Mirror Force and Floodgate Trap Hole. This is because Mosquito itself can't deal any damage unless you have a second one, but even if you can't win off the immediate rebound, on the third turn you should be able to get in for game. The final of our replays is up against Virtual World, and it demonstrates just how good of a matchup this deck has against most of the meta, specifically this deck. We're even going second. And despite our opponent not opening as well as they could have, they are going to be able to make VFD. But we're playing so many traps that we hardly care at all about this format-defining card. For us, it's game plan as usual. We just activate Pot of Duality, check the cards off the top, then we're just going to set 4 back row, normal summon Antjaw, and pass as if nothing even happened. Likely not seeing Antjaw as a threat, our opponent decides not to negate it with VFD, but we know with our back row that it wasn't going to get ran over by battle, and its effect wasn't going to get negated by VFD. Our opponent was going to have to special summon. It was just a matter of when. And just like that, things have escalated incredibly quickly. Our opponent tries to go into the sync row to pop our Mosquito, but we go ahead and negate that with our Solemn. And at this point, we've essentially already won. They're going to try and attack over our Sunflower, but we have the Quaking. It passes back to us, and we top deck a Bamboo Shoot. All we'd have to do is normal summon this, but we go ahead and activate the Extrav to see what we have off the top. And just like that, Naturia has beaten the best deck in the format on its second turn. Okay, so we're back with the deck, and let's do the pros and cons. First off, this deck has an amazing matchup against two of the best decks in the format, Virtual World and Drytron. When your opponent has to special summon, things are going to be escalating very quickly. Second, this deck is very consistent. You can play 3 copies of Naturia Antjaw alongside triple Extravagance and triple Pot of Duality in order to get to it. If you're having problems getting to it, even with that, you can play Foolish Burial of Goods to send Naturia Sacred Tree. And Naturia Sacred Tree can also get it out. And third, this deck is very cheap to make. The most expensive cards in the deck are Extravagance and Sarah, and those cards aren't even mandatory to play it. And the cons. This deck has a bit of a harder matchup against controlled decks like Eldritch. However, if you side into more of a Bamboo Shoot control variant, you have a much easier matchup against those decks. Thanks for watching the video. Tell me in the comments section down below what you'd like to see next, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Special thanks this video goes out to nobody. That's right, I'm holding it hostage until Konami gives us a Naturia structure deck. They clearly don't want to sell the Ice Barrier one. They wouldn't have taken out Crossout Designator if they wanted to. That's right. I said it.